Revealed, a heartwarming voice memo meant for another uncovers life-changing truths after 7 years. Rain pelted the roof of Jake's late father's house, each drop drumming like a call to action. The attic beckoned him a dusty treasure chest of memories and forgotten hopes. As a single father in Maplewood, Jake worked 2 jobs just to scrape by, all while his son, Max, grappled with the struggles of school. But today, the storm outside felt different, an electricity buzzing in the air. Driven by a surge of nostalgia, he climbed the creaky stairs, uncertain of what he defined. Among piles of antique boxes and old fishing gear, Jake's curiosity was snagged by a vintage tape recorder. Dust coated its surface, hinting at long-lost stories waiting to be heard. With a flick of the switch, the recorder crackled to life. Suddenly, his father's voice, warm and filled with love, washed over him, sending shivers down his spine. "Matt," it began, addressing the estranged brother Jake hadn't seen in years. It was a heartfelt apology, revealing regrets and family secrets that had languished too long in silence. Tears blurred Jake's vision as he listened, memories flooding back, Sunday dinners where laughter echoed, the aroma of his mother's famous pie mingling with the warmth of family gathered around the table. Those days felt like a lifetime ago, lost in the shadows of his father's passing and Matt's departure, fueled by anger and resentment. The weight of those memories now pressed against Jake's chest, his own struggles mirrored in this revelation. Outside, Maplewood buzzed with whispers and sideways glances. The town had built its opinions like walls, judging his financial hardships and misunderstanding the heart beneath it all. But this tape, the voice of courage and regret, ignited a spark in Jake. He knew he had to reach out to Matt, to mend what had frayed. Yet, each call met with a wall of pride and hurt that felt insurmountable. As if sensing his father's turmoil, Max struggled in school, his grades slipping like sand through an hourglass. Jake's heart tightened, the pressure building. All he wanted was to protect his son from the harsh reality of their life, the judgment, the whispers. He thought of sharing the tape, the hidden truths that could act as a bridge to their past, but fear held him back. Could families ever truly be whole again? Would revealing the truth burden Max with the weight of their history? Tension swirled as Jake faced Matt. Words flew like arrows, hurt and anger colliding, echoing the fights of their youth. In a moment of vulnerability, Jake found himself standing on the edge. "We can't keep living like this," he shouted, his voice raw with emotion. "Don't you see? There's a chance for us, for Max." The air grew thick with unspoken sorrows. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now, let's continue. This was at the moment of reckoning. Both brothers stood, half remembering their childhood, half building new bridges. The weight lifted slightly, each man questioning what forgiveness meant. Silence fell, thick as the rain pattering on the roof, each heartbeat throbbing with the promise of the past and the hope of futures unmade. But with hope comes a delicate balance, leaving Jake at a precipice. Could an apology, a voice lost in time, be the catalyst for healing? The answer danced just out of reach, the air charged with possibility. As they faced each other, tension and history hung heavy, waiting for the choice that would alter everything. The silence between them felt electric, an unwritten pact lingering in the damp air. Matt shifted his weight, his hands shoved deep into the pockets of his worn jacket. The storm outside mirrored the turmoil within. The rain surged against the window, a relentless reminder of how long they had kept their emotions bottled up. "I didn't ask for you to reach out," Matt finally said, his voice low and gravelly. "I didn't want to be part of this mess anymore." Jake's heart sank at the words, a dagger of truth piercing through his resolve. Yet he pressed on, desperation clawing at his throat. "We're family. You can't tell me that all these years of silence have meant nothing." For a moment, Matt's expression faltered. The strong facade cracked, revealing a flash of the brother Jake had once known, the one who laughed until their sides hurt and shared secrets under the blanket forts of their childhood. Memories flickered like distant stars, but Matt quickly buried them, his gaze returning to indifference. "Family?" he scoffed, bitterness lacing the word. "Family doesn't just walk away. You don't know what I've been through, what I lost. Neither do you. Neither do you. I've lost everything too." Jake fought to keep from shouting, frustration seeping into his tone. "You think I wanted things to end up like this? I think about Dad every day. About what he would have wanted for us." The air thickened as both brothers teetered on the edge of a precipice, years of hurt hung in the balance. Jake leaned forward. "I'm trying here, Matt. I'm trying because I want you in our lives. I want Max to know his family. Please let us not make Dad's mistakes our legacy." Matt turned away, staring out into the rain, his shoulders taut. A brief silence followed, filled only by the soft thrum of the storm. Jake took a deep breath, willing himself to be brave. It was time to lay everything bare, to embrace the fear of the unknown in order to reclaim his brother. "I found something in the attic," Jake said, his voice softer now. "It was a tape. Dad was talking to you. He wanted to apologize. Not just to you, but to me too. This is bigger than us. It's about healing what's been broken." Matt whirled around, his eyes alight with suspicion. "You listened to it?" "Yes, I did. And it made me realize how important it is to confront the past. Not just for us, but for Max too. We owe it to him." "I don't know." Matt's voice wavered, uncertainty creeping in. "Let me show you. We can face it together. If we don't, we risk losing more than just our connection. We risk losing what little hope we have left for moving forward." The storm raged outside, but inside, the atmosphere began to shift. Matt was still standing firm, but there was a flicker in his expression, something softening. "Okay," he said finally, every ounce of bravado draining from him. "Let us listen to it together." As they made their way toward the attic, an unfamiliar tension buzzed beneath the surface, blending fear with a flicker of hope. The past was storming in, and with it, the possibility of renewal. Jake's heart thudded as they climbed the steps, every creak of the wood echoing like a heartbeat. What truths would the tape reveal? Jake couldn't help but wonder. Would they be able to embrace the pain of the past and turn it into something beautiful, or would it drive them further apart? The door to the attic creaked open, revealing the dust motes swirling in the soft light. Jake reached for the recorder, but something caught his eye, a box tucked away in the corner. He felt an inexplicable pull toward it, a whispering promise hidden within. His heart raced. What secrets lay inside? He needed to know. "Wait," Jake said, the anticipation building. There might be more. As he reached for the box, the rain intensified, a symphony of nature reflecting the storm in their hearts. What awaited them inside could change everything. Jake pulled the box closer, filled with a mix of excitement and fear. The wooden surface was rough under his fingertips, coated in a layer of dust that clung like past memories. Matt stood back, uncertainty written all over his face. He seemed to wrestle with the choice between retreating into silence and facing whatever lay ahead. "What do you think is in there?" Matt asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know," Jake admitted, his heart racing. "But it feels important. Like it doesn't belong in the corner of an attic. It belongs to us, to our family." He carefully opened the lid, the hinges creaking softly as if protesting after years of being sealed shut. Inside, he found old photographs, yellowing letters, and once vibrant mementos of their childhood. Each item felt like a fragment of their lost connection. It was a treasure trove of memories that whispered stories of laughter, love, and togetherness. "What are you doing?" Matt moved closer, his curiosity piqued. "I'm searching for something. Something that could help us understand what happened, what went wrong," Jake replied, his hands trembling as he sifted through the artifacts. He pulled out a faded photograph of the two of them dressed as superheroes, grins stretched across their faces, carefree and boundless. Matt's expression shifted slightly. "We were stupid back then," he murmured, a trace of a smile ghosting his lips. "We were young," Jake countered. "And we had no idea how hard life would get. More memories spilled out, catching Jake's breath. Birthday cards with scrawled messages, a broken toy car, even a baseball glove. But then, he felt something solid, sealed in an envelope. His fingers brushed against the edge, and a chill rushed through him. "This looks like it's from Dad." "Don't open it," Matt warned, a touch of apprehension in his voice. "That is stuff. It's private." "Maybe it was meant for you," Jake said, but he hesitated. The weight of that envelope felt heavy, like history pressing down, but the pull was too strong to resist. He needed answers, and he could sense that Matt yearned for them too, even if he wouldn't admit it. "What if there's something we can learn?" Jake's voice caught on the edges of hope. "What if it could help us understand?" Matt's eyes, tired but searching, locked onto Jake's. There was a flicker of something there, a yearning to unravel the tightly bound threads of their past. "Fine. But if it hurts, I'm not sure I can handle it." With a deep breath, Jake tore open the envelope. Inside was a letter, age-stained and fragile. As he unfolded it slowly, he felt Matt's presence weighing heavily next to him, both anxious and hopeful. The letter began simply, but as Jake read on, the words morphed into an explosion of emotion, revealing vulnerabilities and regrets he had never known their father possessed. "I'm sorry for the choices I made. I know I pushed you both into silence." Tears threatened to spill as Jake glanced sideways at Matt, who looked as if the walls were closing in. "This isn't just about Dad," Jake said, his voice rising. "It's about us too." The letter continued, echoing their father's wish for a reunion, for them to bond over their grief rather than let it tear them apart. Jake looked up at Matt, their eyes locking, a mutual understanding dawning between them. But just as they reached the heart of the message, a fierce crack of thunder rumbled overhead, shaking the attic to its core. Jake stumbled back, the letter crumpling in his grasp. "What is happening?" Matt clenched his fists, staring out the attic window as if waiting for a storm to pass, but it wasn't the rain that worried him now. "Maybe it's a sign," Jake breathed, panic creeping into his voice. "Maybe it's time to finally confront the storm inside of us." Matt turned, his eyes ablaze with emotion. "Are you ready to face what's next then?" "Because I don't know what this leads to." Jake swallowed hard, his heart pounding like a drumbeat of resolution. "We need to find out. Together." Just then, a knock echoed from below, slicing through the heavy tension. Who could be visiting during a storm? Jake exchanged a glance with Matt, fear and curiosity merging. What could that knock mean for them? A second knock reverberated through the quiet house, drowning out the rhythmic patter of rain against the attic window. The sound was insistent, a call to action that sent a shiver down Jake's spine. "Who could that be?" he whispered, his heart racing. "I don't know, but it can't be good," Matt replied, eyes darting to the attic stairs. The worry in Matt's voice was palpable. He had always been the cautious one, the guardian against life's chaotic surprises. But this time, the unease clung to Jake too, like a wet blanket. "We should see," Jake said, his throat dry. He placed the crumpled letter on the box beside him, knowing its words still hung between them, unprocessed, unresolved. "Just be careful," Matt urged, his brow furrowing. "Maybe it's just the storm, playing tricks." With a deep breath, Jake descended the stairs, each step heavy with uncertainty. The old wood creaked beneath him, mirroring his apprehension. A part of him wanted to forget the knock, to stay in the safety of past memories. But another part, a more daring part, urged him forward, recognizing this might just be the moment of reckoning they both needed. As he reached the bottom of the stairs, the door loomed in front of him like a barrier between their past, present, and future. He hesitated for just a moment, his hand hovering over the doorknob. He could feel the vibrations of thunder, a fierce reminder of the storm outside and the storms they carried within. "Just open it," Matt whispered from the last step, clearly struggling with his own mix of anticipation and anxiety. Jake grasped the doorknob and turned it slowly, the hinges complaining as he pulled the door open. Standing on the porch was a woman, soaked from the rain, her hair clinging to her face. In her hands, she held a small envelope, similar to the one they had just opened. "I'm so sorry to intrude," she said, her voice barely rising above the wind's howl. "But I think I have something that belongs to you." Jake's heart raced as he took in her appearance. The familiarity was striking, something that tugged at the edges of his memory. "Who are you?" he managed to ask, his confusion evident. I'm your sister," she said, her voice cracking. "I know you don't remember me, but I was hoping to connect with you both. It's been so long." Matt's eyes widened, disbelief washing over his features. "What? This can't be real," he muttered, looking at Jake, searching for some kind of validation that they weren't losing their minds. "Please, let me explain," she urged, stepping inside as the rain poured heavier, as if it were washing away years of separation and silence. "There's so much you don't know, and I think it's time for the truth." The air grew thicker as Jake exchanged glances with Matt, their confusion swirling into a tempest of questions. It felt like their past was rushing back through the door, a wave of revelation promising to engulf them. Can we trust you?" Jake finally asked, the words hanging heavily in the air. "Trust takes time," she said softly, but in her eyes, he could see a flicker of hope, the same hope that had mingled in the attic just moments before. "Should we just dive in?" Matt asked, voice steadier now, courage seeping into his tone. Then another flash of lightning lit the room. It illuminated their faces, showing fear, curiosity, and something else, a spark of possibility. As they stood at the threshold of whatever this moment meant, Jake heard the echoes of their father's letter softly in the background, urging them to reach for connections, to break barriers built over years of silence. What was the truth that awaited them? Jake held his breath, preparing to step further into the unknown. Would they uncover the family bonds they thought were lost forever? Or would this door lead to more questions, leaving them hanging again in uncertainty? The rain beat down harder, each drop a reminder of the distance they had yet to traverse. Jake's mind raced as he looked at the woman in front of him. She was real. There was no mistake. This was his sister, the one he'd never known, the ghost of a relationship that didn't exist until now. What do you mean you're my sister?" Jake stammered, disbelief still fresh in his chest. We were told we didn't have any siblings." The woman sighed, her breath mingling with the scent of rain and damp earth. "That's what I've been trying to fix. It's complicated, a lot has happened that you don't know about." Matt stepped a little closer, curiosity mixing with the protective instinct he always had for Jake. "All right, we're listening," he encouraged, his voice steadying. "What do you mean by time for the truth?" She nodded, taking a moment to gather her thoughts. "When our parents split, everything got tangled. There were secrets, things they didn't want you to know because they thought it would protect you." Her voice caught, a mix of pain and urgency. "But I believe it only brought more damage. I've spent years trying to find you both." Jake felt the air around him shift. "Why no?" "Because I received a letter just like the one you found. I knew I had to come." Her hands trembled as she gestured between them, the rain still pouring unabated outside. "You deserve to know what happened and that we're not alone. You've had me all along, just hidden away." Jake felt flooded with emotions, anger, confusion, but also an odd spark of warmth at the thought of having family, someone who might understand. He wanted to yell, to scream, to ask why she left them in the dark for so long. But deep down, he sensed the shared pain. "What exactly did our parents keep from us?" Matt asked, trying to take charge of the conversation, pressing for clarity. "It's about a will, about inheritance, but more importantly, it ties to why our families split apart. I believe it involves promises that you both didn't even know existed." Her words seemed to beckon them into a tangled history that would require unraveling. Jake felt the weight of her gaze, sensing the compassion behind it. Something deep in his gut urged him forward. "If we're family, what's stopping us from just starting over? From getting to know each other?" She smiled weakly, the vulnerability shining through the turmoil. "I want that too, but it might take some time. And there's a more immediate concern. I'm afraid they'll try to silence me again. I need your help." The air shifted again, uncertainty blending with a shared purpose. "Who's they?" Matt pressed, his protective instincts kicking in full gear. "Those who want to keep this truth buried," she replied, glancing nervously towards the door as if expecting someone to burst in. There are powerful people who want to keep our family's past buried. They'll do anything we have to help each other. Just tell us what to do. Jake's voice was steady now, driven by resolve, but before she could respond, the thunder roared, cutting through their tension. It seemed the universe wanted to shatter this fragile moment. The door slammed against the wall, startling them all. A figure stood framed in the doorway, drenched just like her, but with a look of menace that sent a chill down Jake's spine. "Let us cut the games," the figure said, stepping into the dim light of the room. "You shouldn't have opened that door." Jake's heart raced again, fear mingled with anger, and he realized their past might be darker than either of them had anticipated. Would they be able to face this new threat together? Or would this storm take more than they could handle? Jake's breath caught in his throat as the figure advanced, the rain dripping from their hair and clothes, pooling on the floor like secrets waiting to be uncovered. The tension in the room was palpable, electric, and he gripped the edge of the table in front of him. This was no longer just an emotional reunion. It felt like a prelude to a fight. "Who are you?" he demanded, his voice rising over the pelting rain, trying to mask the tremor underneath. The woman who claimed to be his sister stepped back, her eyes wide. "You need to trust me," she urged, but her plea was drowned out by the newcomer's smirk. "Trust? What a quaint idea," the figure replied, a glint of menace in their eyes. "But trust is for fools. You don't know the whole story, do you?" Matt stepped forward, positioning himself protectively between Jake and the aggressive figure. "Back off. We don't want any trouble." "Oh, but trouble is exactly what you've invited," the figure said, shrugging off the concern like water off a duck's back. "You've opened a door that should have remained shut. You're meddling in matters far beyond your understanding." "What do you want?" Jake asked, anger giving him strength. He was no longer the brother in the dark, left to navigate life's storms alone. He was someone with a purpose now. The figure tilted their head, considering. "What I want is simple: to keep what remains. Your sister's little rabbit hole leads to family secrets that could ruin us all." "Then you have the wrong people," she shot back fiercely, surprising both Jake and Matt with her courage. "We're not afraid of you or your secrets. We want the truth." The storm outside raged on, but inside, a different storm brewed. Jake felt the weight of the moment heavy upon him. He might not have known this woman for long, but instinctively, he felt they shared more than just blood. They shared a battle ahead. "Tell us what you know," Matt challenged, his voice steady, determined. "Together we can face it. You can't scare us into silence." The figure laughed, dark and mocking. But you underestimate the lengths I will go to protect what's mine. This is family business, and you are trespassing." With that, a silence fell, heavy and lingering. Jake felt the flicker of uncertainty creeping back into his heart, but he shook it off. He had family now. They were worth the fight. "Family business?" Jake whispered, barely audible, as if the word lingered in the air long after it was spoken. "It's our business, too. And we deserve to know." The figure's eyes narrowed, gauging them, searching for weakness. "You really think you can take a stand against this?" They sneered, amusement couched in menace. But just as quickly, the amusement faded, replaced by something darker. "Fine. The truth is an ugly beast. But be careful what you wish for. Sometimes, the monster lurking in the shadows is not what you expect." With that, they stepped back, melting into the shadows of the doorway. The finality of their departure echoed in the room. "Are you all right?" Jake asked, turning to his sister. Her face was pale, and he could see the trembling of her fingers as she wiped the water from her face. "I'm okay, I think," she whispered, but uncertainty clouded her eyes. "But we need to act fast. The letter wasn't the only thing I found. If they're after me, it means they want to clean up loose ends." Jake's heart pounded in his chest. The words spun in his mind. "What do you mean?" "It means not everyone is who they seem," she replied, determination refueling her voice. "I didn't just find our connection. I found something that could blow everything wide open. But we need to trust each other completely and move quickly. There's no telling what they're capable of, but one thing is clear." "What?" Jake probed, inching closer, urgency coursing through him. "They will try to silence us before we uncover the truth. thunder rattled the walls again, mirroring the storm brewing within them. They had to face this together. But could they handle the monsters that awaited them? And what truths would they unleash in the process? In that moment, they all knew one thing: the fight was just beginning. Jake felt the weight of gravity pulling at him as he processed her words. The urgency hung in the air, thick with unspoken fear. The rain's rhythm was deafening, an ominous soundtrack to the chaos swirling within his mind. "What did you find?" he asked, his heart racing. His sister took a deep breath, her resolve strengthening. "A voice memo," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "From years ago. It's about our family. Secrets that they're more dangerous than I thought." "Who is it from? What does it say?" Matt interjected, his brow furrowed. It was clear to all of them that they were standing at the edge of something monumental, a chasm that could either swallow them whole or set them free. "It was meant for someone named Lily," she said, confusion etched on her face. "I don't know who that is, but the recording has details about our parents, about their past. It mentions hidden things, things that could change everything we thought we knew." Jake felt the floor shift beneath him. Lily. A name familiar yet foreign. Was it a sister, a cousin, someone lost in the swirling mess of familial history? The thought was suffocating. "If there are things hidden, we have to dig deeper," he said, determination seeping into his voice. "We can't let fear stop us now. And we can't trust anyone," his sister added, her eyes darting around as if expecting the figure to burst back in through the door. "They're out there, watching. I can feel it." The door slammed, rattling the frames and pulling Jake's focus. He clenched his fists, instinctively ready to defend his sister. But it was only the wind, howling like a banshee. "Let us listen to the recording," Matt suggested, breaking the tension like a bulldozer through glass. "It might guide us. Show us what we're up against." She nodded, the flicker in her eyes igniting with hope. They gathered around her phone, the dim light flickering with anticipation. The fears that had cluttered their minds turned into a shared purpose. She tapped play, and the voice burst into the room, a ghost from the past. The voice was shaky, raw, tinged with emotion. "If you're hearing this, then I failed to protect you. There's a truth buried deep, secrets about our family that date back generations." Jake leaned closer, the sound wrapping around him. "They'll stop at nothing to keep it hidden. I never wanted to drag you into this, but you deserve to know your heritage. They're coming for you, and they won't hold back." His pulse quickened. Each word launched daggers of awareness into his heart. Who were they? What had he inherited? Suddenly, there was a thud from outside, unsettling enough to freeze them in place. "What was that?" his sister whispered, eyes wide. Before Jake could answer, Matt sprang to his feet, rushing to the window. "Stay here," he commanded. Jake felt the same surge of adrenaline. There was a storm outside, and it mirrored the tempest rising inside him. The truth was dangerously close, yet it felt like a tightrope walk under volcanic pressure. "What do we do now?" Jake turned toward his sister, her face a mask of resolve. "Now we prepare for what comes next," she replied, straightening her spine. "We need a plan. We pursue the truth together, and if they try to silence us, we fight back." Jake nodded. Their bond felt stronger in that moment, forged in the fires of uncertainty. But would it be enough? Then, just as a bolt of lightning illuminated the room, illuminating the shadows creeping in the corners, they saw a silhouette standing outside their door. "I warned you," a cold voice called out. "Now you must face the consequences." Collectively, they held their breath, hearts pounding like drums in their chests. What would happen next? Would they be able to face the shadows threatening to consume them? The fight had only just begun, but he could feel the flicker of hope against the encroaching darkness, and it made him stand a little taller. The truth was out there, and he was ready to chase it down. But could they outrun the dangers lurking just beyond their grasp? Jake's heart raced, each beat echoing like the thunder rumbling outside. The silhouette loomed just beyond the door, shrouded in darkness, a shadow of dread that hung heavily in the air. They had been warned, now consequences seemed alive, waiting to unfold. "What do we do?" his sister whispered again, trembling slightly but still standing tall, defiance bubbling to the surface. Hold on, Matt said, glancing back at them. The worry knotted in Jake's stomach, but Matt's voice brought a flicker of hope. We need to confront this. Jake stepped forward, finding unexpected strength in his resolve. I'm not afraid. Whatever this is, we face it together. He nodded toward the door, where the silhouette shifted a slight movement that felt like a challenge. The truth was in reach, tantalizing yet dangerous. This wasn't just about family secrets anymore, it was about standing up for what they believed in. On three, Matt urged, his voice taking on a steady, almost leader-like quality. 1, 2, 3. They pushed the door open in unison, the cold air rushing in like an uninvited guest. The figure in the doorway had a familiar face, one that had haunted their family for years. You shouldn't have listened to that recording, the figure said, a smirk twisting their lips, a mix of authority and menace. Now you've ventured into territories you're not prepared for. Who are you? Jake demanded, shoving aside the shock and stepping into the light. What do you want with us? I'm here to protect you from the truth, the figure stated, their voice a chilling melody that resonated through the room. The tension was palpable, thick like fog. Protect us? Jake laughed, a sound drenched in bitterness. What kind of protection is hiding our past? We deserve to know what you've done. The figure took a step toward them, light revealing cold, calculating eyes. What you don't understand, Jake, is that uncovering these secrets doesn't come without a price. You think you're prepared, but the truth will tear your family apart. Jake felt a flash of anger ignite inside him. I'm not afraid of the truth. Tell us about Lily. What happened? The figure paused, their expression faltering for just a moment. Lily, she was never meant to be part of this mess. But she knew too much. Then tell us. His sister shouted, her courage cutting through the tension. We're not letting you silence us. For a heartbeat, silence hung in the air like molten steel. The figure's composure shifted, uncertainty creeping in. Lily's connection to us is deeper than you realize. And they're coming for you because of it. What does that even mean? Jake pressed, desperate to grasp the fragments of revelation. But before an answer could escape, the wind howled again, raucous, drowning out their words. Jake's instincts flared as he felt a chilling presence outside, shadows lapping at the edges of the room. We have to move. Matt shouted, glancing around as if expecting to see danger materialize at any moment. His urgency fueled Jake's determination. Let them come, Jake said, eyes narrowing in defiance. If they think they can intimidate us into silence, they're wrong. We're ready to face whatever this is. With a sharp nod, they turned to the figure again. You're either with us, or you're against us. What is it going to be? The figure's eyes glimmered, a hint of something fear, perhaps? And for a brief second, they considered turning back. But Jake saw the determination crystallizing. We're running out of time, the figure finally whispered. Follow me. Jake exchanged worried glances with his sister and Matt, their collective resolve mixed with dread of the unknown. But with every step deeper into the fray, they felt the allure of truth pulling at their souls. They moved toward the darkness, the figure leading them, every heartbeat echoing in sync with the thunderstorm outside. The storm wasn't just a backdrop, it was a manifestation of their inner chaos. As they stepped into the shadows, Jake couldn't help but wonder. What awaited them? Would they emerge stronger together on the other side, or were they on the precipice of an irreversible disaster? The air felt heavier as the figure guided them through the narrow, dimly lit hallway. Shadows danced along the walls, blending with fear and anticipation. Jake's heart thundered with every step, each pulse a reminder of how much they had to lose. I hope you know where we're going, Matt muttered, nervously glancing back at the door. Because I don't trust this. Not at all. The figure didn't respond, their focus unwavering as they continued to lead the way. Jake couldn't shake the feeling of being trapped in a nightmare, yet there was a flicker of determination kindling within him. He was tired of secrets. Tired of living in the dark. There's a repository, a place where the truth has been kept, the figure finally spoke, every word smooth, but edged with urgency. It's not far. But you must promise to listen and absorb, no matter how difficult it becomes. Why should we trust you? Jake shot back. You've kept us in the dark for years. The figure paused, turning slowly, eyes locking onto Jake S. with a weight that made him shiver. Because, Jake, I was wrong. All of this could have been avoided. I thought I was protecting you. But secrets only fester and create wounds. I want to help you heal. Help us heal? His sister scoffed, disbelief lacing her voice. What you call healing is more like digging up graves. The figure's lips formed a tight line, but they nodded, acknowledging the truth in her words. I understand your anger. It's justified. But what I'm leading you to may change everything. Jake felt the burden of dread lift enough for curiosity to sneak through the cracks. Fine. Show us what we need to see. They moved deeper into the shadows, and the atmosphere changed. The sound of their footsteps echoed against stone, each step becoming more laden with tension. Outside, the storm grew fiercer, lightning illuminating the hall in flashes. Do you know what happens when you find the truth? The figure asked, their voice barely a whisper, almost drowned out by the storm's roar. Jake's stomach twisted. We deal with it. You think you can? It's not that simple. They reached a door at the end of the hall, weathered and ancient, but it was also adorned with intricate carvings that told stories of long-lost generations. The figure reached out, hesitating before placing a hand on the handle. This door is the threshold. Beyond it lies not just your family's history, but the connection to Lily that binds you all. You must promise to keep an open heart and mind. Without waiting for a response, they pulled the door open, creaking like an old hinge. A dim light emanated from within, casting silhouettes that intertwined with the edges of the room. It felt surreal, almost otherworldly. Inside, Jake's breath caught as he saw a collection of old photographs, documents, and artifacts scattered around a large wooden table. Each item was layered in dust and memories, waiting for someone to bring them back to life. Is this it? Jake breathed, stepping inside. Is this what you've been hiding? The figure nodded slowly. What you uncover in here will shape your understanding of everything. But remember, with every revelation comes pain. His sister stepped forward, her eyes wide as she began to sift through the photos. These are our grandparents. Look closer, the figure said, urgency creeping back into their tone. You need to see everything because once the past is revealed, the future can never be the same. Jake squared his shoulders, feeling the weight of the moment press onto him. They were right on the edge of discovery, but also a step away from chaos. He exchanged a glance with Matt, uncertainty written all over their faces. Before he could say anything more, thunder cracked louder than ever, shaking the very foundation of the house. Jake felt it in his bones as everything around them seemed to shift, and in that chaos, Jake realized they were no longer just searching for clarity. They were stepping into a storm of their own, one rooted in the truth. Let us get started, he said quietly, determination flooding through him. We can't turn back now. But as they leaned into the chaos, a chilling thought pierced through Jake's resolve. What if the truth was worse than anything they could imagine? The whirlwind of emotions fluttered around the room like leaves caught in a sudden gust of wind. The storm outside still raged on, but inside, the air crackled with a different kind of energy, a mix of fear, hope, and straining connections. Jake felt the weight of his family history tugging at him like an anchor. With every photo and letter they uncovered, more little pieces of the puzzle started to fit. Here they were, 3 broken branches of the same family tree, siblings who had been kept apart by silence and secrets. Look, his sister said, holding up a photograph. This was taken during Mom's birthday. We were so happy. He saw the innocence in the photograph, the brightness of youth that seemed unattainable now. But this wasn't just about nostalgia. We can bring those moments back, he said, the conviction in his voice stronger than ever. But first, we have to confront what kept us apart. Matt, riffling through documents, shook his head. I still can't believe we're doing this. I mean, what if what we find is worse than the lies? What if we find ourselves giving up more than we wanted to know? That's a risk we have to take, Jake replied firmly. Living in the dark has only brought us more pain. We need the truth, whatever it looks like. The storm outside roared in agreement, as if nature herself was pushing them forward. Suddenly, the figure, their guide through this chaotic maze of secrets, stepped closer. "You need to understand," they said, their voice low and steady. "Whatever you unleash, whether it's pain or joy, will draw others to you. There are those who will want to silence you." Jake straightened, adrenaline coursing through him. "We'll face them together. That's what family does." Diverse feelings swelled in the room: fear, excitement, and a hint of solidarity. They were standing at the edge of a cliff, peering into the abyss of their family's hidden past. The figure took a step back, letting them sift through evidence of lives lived long ago. Each letter unfurled stories of regret, heartache, and love, snarled in a complexity that bordered on suffocating. It was a reflection of their own journey, a family fractured deeply, yet yearning for wholeness. "I found some of Dad's old journals," said Jake's sister, holding up a worn book, its spine cracked and fragile. "This one speaks about the day he lost his job. It mentions wanting to keep you safe, to shield us from the truth." "What truth?" Jake couldn't ignore the tremor in his voice. "What was so dangerous that he had to keep us in the dark?" Their guide stepped in. "This journal may contain clues. It could lead you back to Lily, to the truth we've kept hidden for too long." His heart raced with determination. "Then let us read it." Each word seemed to leap from the pages, breathing life into a narrative that shaped their reality. After a feverish hour of reading, a chilling revelation emerged. It tied their parents' choices to a family secret that could unravel everything they thought they knew. "This is bigger than us," Matt said, his voice thick with emotion. "It's about understanding every choice they made. Every secret comes with a consequence." "Yes," Jake agreed, feeling deeper connection to his siblings. "But if they did this to protect us, we need to determine if that protection was worth the silence it caused." They shared a glance that spoke volumes: the knowledge that they were bound by blood, past regrets, and the promise of future healing. The storm outside rumbled once more, the wind howling with a familiar urgency. "Now's the time," the figure prompted. "You need to take action. Don't wait for the danger to come. Pull out that recording. Listen to the voice of your past. It's your chance to reclaim what was lost." Heart pounding, Jake nodded. They gathered around his sister's phone once more, fingers trembling as she pressed play. The voice crackled to life, thick with emotion. "My dear children, if you're hearing this, it means I've failed you. But there are things you must know." As the past began to untangle, freedom bubbled to the surface. Every secret lifted a weight off their shoulders, forged through trust and vulnerability. Jake looked at his sister and Matt and felt tears prick his eyes, not out of sorrow, but joy. "Finally, we're coming alive again. For the first time, we can break the chains of our history and build something new." With renewed resolve, the darkness of the past began to fade. They were no longer just a collection of broken pieces. They were family ready to stand united against whoever sought to break them apart. "Let us face this together," he said, a fierce light glowing within. "Whatever the truth brings, we're facing it together. The storm may rage on, but nothing can extinguish our fire." As the voice on the recording persisted, Jake felt hope surging. They weren't just digging into memories, they were digging into possibility. And for the first time in years, the rising sun seemed to peep through the clouds, promising a new beginning, a reunion forged through storm and struggle. "From here on, we're a team," he declared, a radiant smile crossed his face. They weren't just siblings rebonding. They were partners, crusaders on a mission towards healing and freedom. This is the moment for you too. Don't wait not even one more second. You need to subscribe now to ensure you catch the next incredible story. Leave a like now to fuel this fire and support the channel. We want to hear from you, so comment your thoughts. How does this ending strike you? And share instantly with at least 5 friends who are hungry for transformation. Only true fans understand the power of supporting this journey together.